Janelle was part-time before?
Well, she was in finance.
No, she was a
Right,
full-time employee.
okay, but
She was the last.
She was full-time in finance.
Actually, I'm asking the mayor.
What's it? She was full-time in the finance department. We laterally moved, well, we didn't laterally move. She moved over now to become the zoning inspector.
And then Dennis's hours are.
And Dennis is retiring at the end of the month. He'll be gone for 3 months.
Yes.
There was a question, I think, Nick, you had asked it. Are we able to bring Dennis back?
Yes.
That was removed, that clause was removed in January
That's a good thing.
when we did the pay, the one that we just amended again. That clause was removed. So it is okay to bring him back because we did have that clause, yeah, that was a long time ago, where you could not rehire, but that's been removed. So legally, yes, you can bring him back. I checked that out with Joseph because I wasn't aware.
Well, here's the numbers that I'm referring to. In 2015, the actuals for personnel, that's including salaries, overtime, et cetera, were $337,716, and this year it's $429,500. And below, we have an increase also in the operating dollars, a little less than that, about 16,000. So the total difference in terms of the building department from 2015 is $545,575 in 2015 and $651,750 in 2016. I'm just looking at the detailed
The budget in
appropriation.
2016 said 651,750. The budget now says 689.
Yes,
An increase of
that's the-
38,000.
well, that's the carryover number.
No, that's this year including the carry-on.
Yeah,
Right.
right, that's the carryover. So,
There's a difference of
But our budget is
$106,000.
651.
yes, that's
Our
what I'm
budget
trying
last
to
year was
point out.
545.
That it's 106,000 difference, and it's not budget neutral. I mean, every department that gets increased means that we are putting pressure on general fund, obviously. And a lot of these departments do have increases. Now, there were some increases, as you pointed out, the $154,000 for the 2.75% salary increase across the board. So that was going to be added to the general fund. But that is distributed across the entire structure, so that each individual department wasn't suffering. Obviously, the two biggest departments, fire and police, and in terms of costs, are the ones that have the most of that. But, so I'm just saying, these numbers are not budget neutral, and I think that, you know, given the situation that we're in, adding 100,000 here, 100,000 there to financial issues.
Why is that 100,000 different coming
But it's not
It's
100,000.
the operating is only,
in? Are we talking because of the benefit part of this?
that's what you
Pension increase,
to.
compensation increase, unemployment increase, so,
You know,
and a retainer.
the retainer's up above, which I think last year it might have been down below.
We have a retainer in
But
the
I don't-
building department. Is that
It
is that
was, Rhonda.
But I don't see it in last year's expenditures as a line item.
Is Dennis the retainer?
No, the engineer, Don Sheedy,
Okay. So who's the 32.5?
that's down.
That's
That's, okay.
So the
So I'm
budget,
not sure where the retainer was last year, because I don't see a line.
they
item
didn't
for it.
have that way, they were paying under a different structure. But they were paying him, obviously.
Right, but was it out of the building?
Yes.
Any other questions? Because we went through and agreed of the replacements.
Well, I don't
So
know
are you
that
now
we
saying you
did.
don't want to replace?
No,
Because we already agreed to that. That's
Because
why she
Janelle
made
was
the
approved
numbers.
for.
I understand Janelle was approved, but we didn't know about Mr. Rodick, and we didn't know about anything else.
Mr. Roderick's being approved tonight, but he was just a replacement for Mike.
Well,
We
I
did-
understand, but whatever the replacement structure is costing us 100 and some thousand more, that's all. So I don't know that we approved that idea of it yet, because we haven't approved the budget. So my point in looking at this was to say, how come we're, in various areas, we're adding cost when we have a stricture at this point that we say we need to be looking at?
Wasn't the part $20,000 for the, $22,000 for the scanning of all the documents?
The 22,000, that's what that's for.
So that's included in that
Yes.
number too?
Yeah, let me ask that question because I thought that they were saying they had bought a scanner. Are they saying they didn't and they have to now get one, or are they?
Well, we have a scanner there, but they were going to, they're scanning everything new
Yes.
and all the
Old stuff.
old stuff, there was an
Right, there was
entire
a file.
room, probably half
Right,
this size, that
yes.
was loaded from floor to
Right.
ceiling. That needs to
I
be
get
scanned
that.
in.
I get that might be something to consider. All I'm saying is, if we're in a stricter period, which you would say we are, maybe that scanning everything back to when Hector was a pup is not necessarily the thing to do this year. Maybe we can do that next year.
If we didn't buy that house over there, we would have had enough money to have that.
But this, we had to do it to get use the office for the.
Well,
we had to remove-
obviously, we made a choice to do it. is what
Okay,
you're
does
saying.
anyone else have any questions? Because the one question you asked about the finance was answered on February 29th. So, is there any other questions about the operating?
Well,
Dave? I'll ask each one of you, so you get your moment
What's
here.
the percentage that we've been increasing our operating in the last?
that's a good question.
With or without transfers?
Well, first off, without transfers.
Yeah, just what is the increase? What's the percent? Base. Because I hate to say it, every year we've gone up.
I guess as part of that, what's the total increase?
Yes, well, the bottom line total without transfers is.
That's what she's doing. Nick, while she's doing that, do you have anything?
No,
Mr. Bilkey?
not on that subject, no.
Mayor, do you have anything else to say while she does her math calculations? All right, then we'll come back to you, Dave, but that would, do you have any others?
It's an 8.5% increase.
What's the total now?
For 2016, the total increase is 800,000,
800,000?
915.
Right.
Now, let's,
My
and
guess.
don't take that as, you gotta remember, there's some encumbered numbers in there from last year that are being carried. None of the encumbers?
No, I didn't include
You
those.
didn't include those?
No.
So the 815 is the new hires for the police
All the replacements, new hires, everything that's been
discussed.
approved as a budget.
Everything that we've agreed upon, right?
Just for the general fund, yes.
Right, right, just the operating.
So we
Okay.
have an $850,000.
800,000,
800.
800,950, which is an 8%.
Yeah.
Mr. Engel, do you have any other questions?
Well, I guess the question then is, I'm not sure what you were referring to, but transfers, but I guess the general question is then is, with an $800,000 increase in the operating fund, is this going to be a budget, a balanced budget?
Yes.
And when you're balancing the budget, we've been talking about needing to bring in additional revenue. You're telling me to balance the budget without needing.
Without that,
Or without.
we took out an additional debt that we don't have yet, and then I took out capital improvements that we were discussing last week to take out.
When you say you took out additional.
So I had, in the revenue side, I had $2.2 million of debt that we would have to get for additional revenue to help cover capital improvements.
Okay.
So I removed that revenue,
Okay.
and then we removed capital items that haven't been approved yet.
Okay, and so you're telling me that with the operating budget as it is, based on the income that we're having, we're not going to need to borrow any money to
Not if we
meet.
spend what's in here, you know?
Right, that's not what I'm trying to.
Yeah, here's the
What would be
point,
the
if we
leftover?
add $800,000, we can't spend it on capital
Right,
items.
We haven't got that far.
Right, I know, we haven't got there yet, but I'm saying if you increase
In
it,
the general fund?
the capital
Right.
items get blown out.
Excuse me, Kevin has a question on the table.
Right.
I got it, perfect.
Kevin, what was your question?
She answered it.
Well, what was your
What was
question?
it?
and what was
What
her
was
answer?
it?
It was, if, with that, even with that increase, where would we end the year at? It would be 500 and.
86,775.
Say that again?
It's the
It's on
previous
That's the
your
sheet.
number.
Well,
586,
586.
586, 744, that.
with maybe 272 more rolling in.
You're gonna have to,
Potentially.
you're gonna have to tell me
Correct,
what
there
that
could be more.
sheet is called or help me.
Right here.
Right. Kevin,
Actually, 300, because it'd be 19 more than that.
right, but
All
Kevin,
right, so you're saying there's a carryover of 585,
586,775.
that we're carrying
My
over
point
at the end of the year?
that if we spend the money on the
If
operating
we
side,
spend-
we don't have the
One
money to
conversation,
pay
please.
for capital improvements. we
Sylvia,
should.
Sylvia, be respectful. Dave has a question on the table, he's trying to get an answer. Other people may benefit from that.
Well,
Please.
I'm not being disrespectful, I was trying to explain to
That's
him the
not,
point.
that's disrespectful to Dave.
Okay, well,
Not complaining.
he's not complaining.
So say what you told Dave so everybody can hear.
We will have a carryover at 586,775 with the assumption that we spend everything that we appropriate, which, could not be, might not be the case.
And that's,
And then estimating that we're not gonna get any additional increase in revenue that we have here.
and we're not touching the emergency reserve.
Right.
And obviously, we're not touching the pension reserve, which is another emergency
Right.
reserve.
We're not touching that. So the revenue, we know it's gonna, the other's gonna go up. So then the carryover will then go up.
What is
The
that?
other revenue here, we already know that it's gonna go up probably by 20,000 because of Sagamore.
Okay.
And then I have to check the local government, so this will go up, which will make the total go up, so the carryover will go up.
So when we say an 8.5% difference in the general fund, you can certainly take out the increase in wages by the 2.75 off of that, which, and then you can obviously then apply those new employees into that.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Well, because I'm trying to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and if you are talking about the increase from last year to this year, you're looking at the increase of wage increases of 2.75 across the board.
Yes, that's
And then- and-
154,000.
And then you're also looking at the operating cost of just generally of about probably 3% of what it costs you to do business, generally speaking.
Joe, she had already provided an estimate of that.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify it so for everyone else's ears, they can hear what I'm saying.
It's
So that
probably,
you're not saying that it's a pure, I just jumped 8.5%, I have some things in there
Yeah,
that
I
are
mean,
contributing to that.
yeah, you gotta, so I don't want
That are
somebody
out
to
of
walk
your
away from
control.
here and say, oh, the general budget is gone from
Right.
here to there, and it's 8.5%, there's gotta be an explanation, well, what's involved in that? So I'm throwing out those explanations.
Okay, so it includes 2.75 wage increase, about a 3% cost of doing business. I think that's a low estimate.
I
The
don't
majority
Then
of
the
that
budget
too,
I just
which
looked at.
no one seems to be talking about is, those are replacements too, this isn't anything new.
Well, then,
So the replacements are in that 8.5%.
Well, of course.
So replacements are something we've already had, we just failed to backfill them up to this point,
Which
which would probably add up to the majority of that.
No, it isn't.
I'm sure it's a high number, it's not small.
Well, the replacements.
I can just think off my head of over
Replacements,
150,000
yeah.
that would cover a lot.
The replacements are generally,
But it's in the
except
8.5%.
for like the finance director and apparently somehow how we're doing the building department, generally the replacements of the police would make it lower. You know what I mean? And it is 2.75% more, that's true, because
that's
of our.
another number, the IT guy who's now taking away from contracted services, so, you know, that's dropping that number.
That was part of the question.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Any other comments, Rhonda or the mayor? Before we move into this capital.
I do have some more questions here if I may, concerning the operating.
Are they
budget.
on your list? Because a lot of those questions we already talked about.
Well,
And so can you pick out one that maybe we didn't talk about? Because we did, as I read these